you doing, John? Your friend didn't come this time?
No, he's not one of the, he's not like that.
Oh. Gets bored easy, huh?
Yeah, he just,
I call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmasters Club 9958 to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. Please, this is the time to turn off your cell phones, which I just did mine, so I'm going to go off on me again. For the guests, if you need the restrooms, any of these doors, you can make a left. The first opening, you make another left and go all the way down. It's on your right-hand side. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and fresh leader for this evening, Linda Earls.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests.
Hello.
I wanted to mention a quote that Dr. Kent Brantley said about the American Ebola patient. He said, "Today is a miraculous day. I am thrilled to be alive. God saved my life." I also wanted to tell you that I had a bad week, but my bad week may have been somebody else's, it might have paled in comparison to what might be happening to another person. So I thank God that my bad week was not that bad. And I'd like us all to stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our president.
Thank you.
Really awesome to see all of you out here tonight. Thank you for sacrificing your Wednesday evening to make our Toastmaster meeting, dramatic pause, that much more special. We have some new faces in the room. We're going to go ahead and say why we are called the facilitators. Just primarily for 3 reasons. Numero uno, we are sponsored by the Central Florida chapter of the American Society of Training and Development, the premier organization for professional facilitators, open to all. A good facilitator needs to be a strong communicator and an effective leader, and Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership. Number 3, to facilitate means to make things easy and possible. And we want to make things easy and possible for everyone tonight, as well as super fun. We're always very stoked when we get guests in the room. We kind of have a lot of guests tonight, / some people that are in the process of becoming members, who we will swear in officially next week. One of our guests this evening was brought in by Jorge Elias, and his name is Brian. Brian, would you just stand up briefly and share with the room why you're here?
Jorge brought me. I'm from Wisconsin originally and wanted to come back because he invited me, and I had been to Toastmasters in the past, and when I moved here I kind of fell out of the loop because where I was there was no meeting and it wasn't convenient to travel, so I kind of let it go.
Brian, welcome. We look forward to sharing this time together. I'm going to do my best to get this right. Kanisha.
You got it.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Kanisha. So the reason I came today is because I don't really get a lot of opportunity to facilitate or present. So I thought this would be a good and fun challenge for me.
All right, good. And then we have Diane, who is actually a guest who's going to speak. But Diane, go ahead and share with the room where you come from.
Well, I originally come from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. No, I'm only kidding. I'm from Lake Mary Toastmasters, and I was Toastmaster yesterday and sort of did a topic, and when I was looking to do a speech, and Stephen said, how about tomorrow? And I said, okay, I guess I'll try it. So today I'm going to do a speech for you, and I hope that you like it. Thank you.
Thank you. I can tell you what, for any of the Toastmasters that are in the room that haven't visited another club, it's really a neat experience. Just to see the different ways that things are being done out there, because we only know what we know. And then we've got Michan, who's back. You don't need to stand though. She's finally got her membership application dialed in. And then we've got Brother Steve, who's back in the house.
I'll submit that.
Yeah. So yes, one more round of applause. Next week we'll have 2 members that we do the swearing-in process with, but Mickey's not here tonight. She's the vice president. No, would it be Alan that swears them in, or would it be Mickey? Stephen? Alan will. So we'll get Alan tuned in on that. That'll be a neat new experience for you next week, Alan. September 14th, 2014, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Castleberry Public Library in Oxford Drive. It will be the second round of the Area Humorist Speech and Evaluation Contest. 2 brothers from this club will be participating in that contest, in Mark and myself. Mark representing humorous and myself representing evaluation. Once again, it's really neat to go visit a contest, and we would really appreciate friendly faces in the audience. We want to bring the 2 first prize home trophies to facilitators. Then lastly, Tony Giddles had her hip replacement surgery. It was a success. She's doing very well as long as they get her pain medication intervals correct. When the intervals are incorrect, she said she is in an incredible amount of pain. But I've been in contact with her every day. And now, I'm really excited for tonight's meeting. I joined this club because of the experience that was in these walls. And our Toastmaster this evening is oozing with experience. Whenever I have a question, I don't Google it, I go to this guy, he's quicker. It's the truth. Like most of our Toastmasters this evening, he often finds himself thinking and planning for the future, being heavily mathematics inclined. This facilitator examines how likely an outcome will be and prepares very heavily for the most likely outcomes, while ignoring unlikely possibilities. Once in a while, he has to change plans drastically when the unusual occurs. It is for those occasions that being Toastmaster of the day, it's excellent practice, especially in meetings like tonight's, when speakers don't respond and members cancel in the last few hours. The meeting will still go on, just as life will go on. And as long as chance plays a role, our Toastmaster this evening will be playing the odds in his favor. Please welcome to the lectern, Advanced Toastmaster Gold, Stephen Morgan.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome.
Who here enjoys getting out to gamble once in a while? I see. Anyone going to willing to gamble that's more than once in a while? Do you know the odds of the games that you're playing?
Not good.
Blackjack is good. Blackjack is good? Are they in your favor?
Your investment funds, sir.
The house would never play any games unless it had the odds in its favor, because that's how they make their money. I was curious for myself the odds of living to 100 years old, and apparently for those born in my year, you can figure that year out. My odds of living to 100 will be just a little over 13%. Although if I were female, it would be 19%. So somewhere later in life, maybe a sex change operation would be appropriate. Every parent's most feared event is if something happens to their child, someone kills their child. But what do you think is the likelihood that your child is going to be killed by a stranger? Or put it this way, for those kids under age 5 who were murdered between 76 and 2005, of those that were killed by strangers, only 3%. Those that were killed by their parents, one or the other, 60%. Your child is more in danger with you, apparently. But yet it's the thing that we fear that is the least likely. And in some cases, it's the thing that we really want, that we assume can happen, that is also the least likely. Who here is planning their retirement on winning the lottery? What are your odds of winning, say, the Powerball? Anyone figure?
100 million? 42 million?
Any other guesses? We'll do it like Price is Right, kind of? Next close.
1 in 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion. You're the first one to overestimate.
Mine is 0.
One is over 1 in 175 million. For that matter, Mega Millions, it's 1 in 135 million. Your odds of dying from SARS here in the United States is only 1 in 100 million. Place your bet there. What are your chances of getting hit by lightning? The odds of getting hit by lightning. We hear that one, it's always so rare.
Twice.
You've been hit twice? Awesome. What are the odds, though, in general?
1 in 1,000.
Not quite that, thankfully. In the United States in 2010, there were 280 people struck by lightning. But out of a population of 310 million, that comes to a little over 1 in a million. Fewer in Florida, in 2011, that probability dropped to 1 in 614,000. Simply because we have more lightning strikes here, plus a larger percentage of the population. Although of those 31 people hit, only one of them died. When you think about the things that you're planning for, you're planning towards what will happen, whether you're going to get up and give your next speech, or whether you're going to get out to work the next day, planning for investing for the future, or hoping that some great event will come along, or even whether or not you'll get into an auto accident. Random events will occur. You might be the lucky or unlucky recipient of any one of them. But how do you prepare for uncertainty? That's a difficult thing for people. We hate uncertainty in reality. For the most part, a lot of people have, especially with security issues, they're the ones who want that certainty of they will be okay within the next whatever period of time. But you can never be guaranteed. You're never going to be sure that you're going to live through the day. And I'm afraid that the odds of you dying are still 100%. We're waiting to see if anybody is able to change those. Some of you would rather be dying than coming up here. That's often why people come to Toastmasters. But so far, nobody has died at the lectern, in my experience. Nonetheless, we have a few people who are working well to make sure that we're, well, at least a little worried, beginning with our technical table. They will be listening closely and paying attention to what we're doing to help keep us on track and to improve. But along the way, they're also pointing out the things that we might need to work on. Beginning first with our grammarian this evening, please explain what you'll be doing, Renju.
as a grammarian, I have two basic responsibilities. First is to provide a word of the day to my fellow Toastmasters and guests in order to expand our vocabulary. I have chosen the word of the day, which is pragmatic. It's an adjective, which means dealing with the problems that exist in a specific situation in a reasonable and logical way instead of depending on ideas and theories. It is used in a sentence like this: while many parents rely on theory when governing their children, I prefer a more pragmatic approach. If you have an opportunity to speak, please do your best to use the word. I will keep track of those who use the word of the day. Those who do not use the word of the day will be fined 25 cents. Guests and members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech will not be fined. I will also listen for colorful imagery and use of exceptional vocabulary and grammar. And I will suggest improvements in grammar as needed. Mr. Toastmaster.
According to the CDC, your odds of being murdered in 2010 were 1 in almost 19,000. Compare that to winning the lottery. Before we get murdered by anyone else here, our Wizard of Oz will be listening closely and pointing out our mistakes. Martin, please explain.
In order to improve the quality of our speech, the counter's job is to make us aware of disruptive audible clutches such as zing, and ohs, and double clutches, which is the repetition of a word while the speaker searches for their next thought. I will also note sentences strung together with bridge words such as and, so, or like. And if I remember, I will sound a buzzer when I hear any of these infractions. Please note this is not to cause embarrassment, but to get immediate feedback on an area that we need improvement. The fine for each infraction is 10 cents. Guests and members who have not given their icebreaker speech will not be fined or buzzed, but I will keep track of their infractions, and I will give a report at the end of the meeting, Mr. Toastmaster.
Martin, do not buzz Diane.
Okay.
You can buzz me, it's all right, I'm working on
You
it.
sure that was something you said you really hated?
I don't care, I'm gonna go for it tonight.
All right.
New, quick speech, buzzes, time, whatever, it's okay.
What are the odds of a professional golfer getting a hole-in-one? It says 1 in 2,500. But the odds of an amateur golfer, 1 in 5,000.
That's not good.
That's not a huge difference, does it? Maybe we're paying them too much. Alas, we need a bit more money for the club, so our grammarian, along with the odd counter, is trying to help us get a little bit more. But now we pass on to the timer. Explaining your role, please. Linda, is it? We're passing along now?
I'm assistant.
She's assisting tonight. One of the skills Toastmasters practice is expressing a thought within a specific range. As timer, I am responsible for monitoring time for each speaker in each meeting segment. I will operate the timing signals, indicating to each speaker how long he or she has been speaking. For our prepared speeches, to qualify for voting, speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under their minimum range, not to be more precise or pragmatic, the light's minimum range, because their minimum range is 30 seconds less, and not more than 30 seconds over this minimum range, this max. I will turn on the green light at range minimum, yellow light at mid-range, the red light at range maximum, and it looks like I did it in the wrong order. For table topic speakers, to qualify, speakers must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Green light, 1 minute, yellow light, 1.5 minutes, red light, 2 minutes. For evaluations to qualify, evaluators must speak a minimum of 1 minute, 30 seconds, and a maximum of 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Green light at 2 minutes, yellow at 2.5 minutes, red at 3 minutes. Madame, thank you, Madame and Mr. Toastmaster. It's not a Madame. Someone should read the correct. Let's just get it correct. So we got green, yellow, red. Okay.
Could you turn it, please, so I can see it?
Okay, we see it up here.
So let's just try again. Group thought. Right. I'm used to doing everything left to right. Okay, so just have to do it backwards.
And to note on the agenda where I put Mark's name for time of report, that was a copy paste error, so obviously timers will be giving those reports. And, let's see, your odds of getting colon cancer, actually about the same as the odds of you being a victim of serious crime in your lifetime, just once. And that is a mere 1 in 20. Eat well, and keep away from the dangerous areas, apparently. Like our supervisor of election, please explaining your role this evening.
I will pick up your ballots for best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and the motion. I will pragmatically tally the results for award presentations at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up any comments you might have written for the speakers or any meeting participant and deliver comments to the appropriate person. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, the thing we love hearing about on the news here in Florida when there's a shark attack happening at the beach. What are the odds that you will die this year from a shark attack? Anyone want to give a shot at that?
It's larger if you're in the water.
A what?
They're larger if you're in the water.
Much more so.
From a greater attack.
1 in 600,000.
1 in 600,000.
1 in 600,001. As it turns out, it is 1 in 300 million.
Wow.
The odds that you will die this year from a falling coconut is 1 in 250 million. I am still waiting to hear that report on the news. But before we get to hear any of those, we get to hear from our speakers.
Yeah.
The best part of the meeting, yes. Beginning with our first speaker. Have you ever wondered how people acquire language and reading skills? Did you know that there are areas of the brain that are set up to look for the patterns in our language? Our next guest speaker will demonstrate to us how rhyming patterns are instrumental in developing language, and she will also explain the reasons so many of us use them in our daily lives. So please welcome Toastmaster Diane as she presents Rhymes and Reasons.
No, I'm not going to talk about the John Denver song, Rhymes and Reasons, if anybody was old enough to know that. No, I'm not going to talk about Jesus and all the kumbaya and the flowers swaying in the wind, but I am going to talk about children. I'm going to talk about children and how we are still like children. Master Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, today I'm going to talk about how we are all like little children, and how we start out and continue throughout our lives to try and make sense of our world. And I want you to know that rhyme is an integral part of that experience throughout our lives. For one thing, rhyme is a pattern, and we all know it's the sounds that repeat over and over in our language, and we do it constantly throughout the day. It is pleasurable to our ears, and our brain identifies patterns, and it stimulates our brain, and it gives us pleasure to kind of jump into pattern recognition mode. Rhyme helps us to decode patterns and to purify the basics of our world. Of course, we all know that mothers, if we're all mothers here, and fathers, you know that too, there is a language called Motherese. And what is Motherese? Motherese is the way we speak to our infants. And we start out and we use rhymes. We say, go to bed, sleepyhead, or boo-hoo, did you get a boo-boo, things like that. So we start out and all the children laugh and stuff when that happens, and that is our way, an instinctive way of teaching children language skills. Of course, this happens across all cultures. It is in just about every language in every culture around the world, that there are rhythmic patterns of sounds that help us to learn language and to order our world. There was also a University of Texas at Austin study that said it doesn't even start when you're born. It starts before you're born. It starts when you're a fetus. And what they did is they took a control group of mothers who were in their 3rd trimester, and they took another group of mothers in their 3rd trimester. They asked the mothers in their 3rd trimester to read The Cat in the Hat out loud every day for their whole 3rd trimester. And when they did that, they wanted to see if the babies could respond to it. And here's an example. The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, so we sat in the house all that cold, cold, wet day. I sat there with Sally, we sat there, we two, and I said, how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out, too cold to play ball, so we sat in the house, we did nothing at all. So all we could do was to sit, 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 sit. And we did not like it, not one little bit. Now that's just the beginning part. But what they found after the babies were born is they saw responses through sucking and little burbles and also through smiles. And they knew that the babies that were in the group that had been read to, they identified with those sounds and it was pleasurable to them. Of course, this has been happening throughout time that we have been making rhymes. In pre-literate times when we didn't have any type of writing, they were pragmatic enough to pass their history and their wisdom on through the generations. How did they do that? They used rhymes because the youngest of their children could recognize the patterns and remember the patterns. And all they had to do was remember the patterns. And so they taught them and they kept on going with the patterns and they had their history. Now, what happens is that we recognize the patterns, but we don't care if it's important or if it's relevant. So we do that later. So it's important that we just recognize the patterns because it gives us pleasure and it makes us remember. Also, during the times of oppression, when there were a lot of monarchs, and of course today, I'm sure, when there were retribution, persecution, and execution, if you didn't agree with them, they used rhyme in code so that they could talk without getting executed. And what they did is they made up rhymes. They used it for secret messages and for political parody. For example, all of you know, 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a sight in your life as 3 blind mice? Now all of us know that and all thought that was just the greatest little rhyme. But did you ever listen to the words and hear how barbaric it is? What it really is, it is a piece of history, and it was about Queen Mary, also known as Bloody Mary, who was a Catholic and she hated Protestants. She would persecute, execute Protestants all day long. There were these 3 bishops, of course the 3 mice, the 3 bishops who went up against her, and she decided to execute them. They were Protestant bishops. So it is said that she blinded them and she butchered them and killed them. So that is where 3 blind mice comes from. We also have nursery rhymes that are used for wisdom, to pass down wisdom. For example, we all know, if you've held hands and gone around in a circle and sang, ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. We do it with our kids, we did it with everybody. Well, that really was a wisdom for people to recognize the bubonic plague. Because the bubonic plague was a rosy red rash with a ring around it. The ashes were the cremated bodies, and the posies were the strong-smelling herbs that they had in their pockets so that they wouldn't have to smell the smell of death. Of course, we used rhyme to teach people how to behave, like Little Bo Peep, when they would warn about the consequence of irresponsibility. Also, limericks were really, really popular. They used limericks in pubs just for laughter, to have fun. Example, there once was an old man of Esser whose knowledge grew lesser and lesser. It at last grew so small he knew nothing at all. And now he's a college professor. So of course you want to look at me and say, oh, well, what does this have to do with me? Well, it has a lot to do with you. It doesn't just stop when you are a child. Because all you guys out there, you use it in football chants like, we're the best, we can't be beat, we will never accept defeat. Or national myths like Paul Revere, one if by land, two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be. Or for protests and political slogans, hell no, we won't go. And then of course we use it for mnemonic devices that we all learned. I before E, except after C, and when sounding like A and neighbor or way, or to remember dates. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Of course, advertisements, what would they be without jingles? All of us use them, and that's how we're attracted to buy the product that they want. And finally, songs. Everything that we have, songs in our lives, are based in rhyme. How many of you, raise your hands, know the words to thousands of songs, but can't remember the definition of abrogate? If you are like that, it's because the patterns are what you recognize and you can learn the songs even if you don't know what they mean. So what I want to tell you is to use the rhyme, teach your children rhyme, use it in your daily lives, put some order in your life, and get a few smiles. And now my speech is at an end, but here's what I recommend. Write a poem to your love, your wife, your child, or God above. They'll not forget your tender thought, for it was from you that it was wrought. Thank you.
Timers, please put 1 minute on the clock, and everyone take the opportunity to use the informal evaluation forms and write down any feedback you might have for Diane on her speech.
Thank you.
Okay, 1 minute.
Thank you. The overall odds in general of getting divorced are just 1 in 3, which is about the odds you'll have of successfully climbing Mount Everest if you decide to do so. Jonathan, you should be up there several times by now. How many people are worried about dangerous dogs? Or being attacked by dogs?
I've been attacked more than once.
Your odds of dying from a dog bite. You'll have about the same odds of having quadruplets. 1 in 700,000.
What about triplets?
Already hit that one now, haven't we? Now, of course, a 4-digit number, it has 10,000 possibilities, so if you're going to guess a combination, it'd be 1 in 10,000. Happens to be about the same chance you'll have of picking a 4-leaf clover on your first try. So how lucky do you feel today? I'm sure our next speaker is feeling lucky. Our second speaker this evening is in the market, not for dating, but for work. So he's feeling lucky, not getting lucky. His purpose in life at the moment is to find a job where he can use his education, talent, and the skills he has learned at Toastmasters. He's very persistent and won't rest until he finds his desired job. This evening he'll present the 5th project from the Competent Communication Manual, which is the Your Body Speaks. So please welcome Jorge Elias, the purpose in life.
purpose in life is? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and guests. I believe we all have a purpose in life. Actually, not just one, but several that interconnected give sense to our lives. The late John Lennon, I believe he fulfilled his purpose in life. He was a great composer that revolutionized rock and roll music. With his music, he touched several of our lives, including myself, my life. I had several cases, near-death experiences. I will tell you a few of them, and I explain the purpose and the reason why I think I'm here. I lived in a mine camp until I was 6 years old. My parents told me not to play near the mine. And of course, that was my favorite place to play. There were so many fun things. You have lanterns of the miners, the hard hats, pieces of dynamite starters that you can light up and watch it burn. You know, I started playing with fire early in my age. When we didn't have things to play with, we played tag, like most kids. And the best place to play tag was the mine. There was the great obstacle course with the big drums of chemicals, full and empty, heavy equipment. One time we were playing, I was running, they were chasing me, and I was looking back who was following me. The next thing I know, I see this big hole, and my hair is scary, and the instinct made me jump, and I continue pedaling, walking. Seemed like I was walking on air. I made it. I lived to tell the story. After the jump, miraculous jump, with my friends, we got closer to the hole. We saw this big hole, and we could only see up to a point, and then it was all dark. We threw a couple of rocks, and we couldn't hear until a few seconds the sound back. I believe the purpose in life at the time was a call to my parents to tell them to move from the mine camp to the big city of La Paz. That brought our family closer together, starting over again in one place. Better education, better schools, and a safer place to live. Better education brought me to the United States. It was not on my plans, but I'm glad that I'm here. In my mid-20s, I was in Louisville, Kentucky. I owned a Mustang Mach 2, Ford Mustang Mach 2, a very fast car with a minor problem with the brakes. I had 2 tickets to see the Rolling Stones concert. I went to pick up my friend after work. I was so excited. Driving on 65, my exit was Crittenden Drive, which was an exit right after a hill. I was driving fast. I didn't want to miss anything. I was so excited. I get to the top, going down, I see that full traffic is stopped. And what do? I step on the brake and I hear the screeching of the tires and smell of the rubber burning. When I open my eyes, I see I'm so close to the truck, I could almost read the little letters that are on the bottom. I believe my purpose in life at the time was to finish my education and keep my parents happy. I finished my engineering degree. I made them proud, they were happy. As an engineer, I worked on several projects that brought water to my community, cities around the country and all over the world. Many years later, in Florida, I was driving back from a softball game with my daughter Camila. We won the game, we were happy. I was commenting on her double play, a catch and touch. Driving safely, of course, always watching the road. All of a sudden, a big pickup truck comes and crosses into us. I believe this time was a heaven intervention. I can't imagine how we're here still. And nothing happened, not even an accident. I was shaking. My daughter Camila was crying. I was shaking. We had to stop. The reason for that, to me, was to ask my current wife, Cecilia, to get married, my wife now. That brought peace of mind to two families in Bolivia, Cecilia's family and my family. They knew that we had each other. We were not alone anymore. John Lennon passed away at a very early age. He left us several songs and one masterpiece, in my opinion, Imagine. I'm not trying to compare myself to John Lennon, but I know his life and everybody else's lives go together with their actions. We all have a purpose in life, not just one, but several. And we're all here living, continuing with our lives to affect, our life may affect lives of somebody else. I know I'm not complete. I'm still looking for my masterpiece. Mr. Thomas.
Our timers will put another minute on the clock, and everyone can take that opportunity to provide their written feedback to Jorge on his speech. Thank you. Our timers will give a timer report, please, on the speeches.
Okay.
Stand up.
That's not me. Diane Manikowski came in at 8 minutes and 33 seconds, just missing the window by 3 seconds.
Oh well.
Jorge, I guess by default, is the winner tonight.
If he qualified, did he qualify?
He did qualify. He came in at 6 minutes and 29 seconds. We should cast the votes anyway, just for competition purposes.
No, that's fine. For those of you who've written your feedback, our vote counter can pick those slips up and deliver them to the speakers as he comes around. In the meantime, a few more fun odds that you might be interested in. The odds of you getting a table topic today are pretty good, since no one else stepped up to speak. Your odds of dying from parts falling off an airplane apparently are 1 in 10 million. I do not know where they calculated that one. Your odds of dying from electrocution, 1 in 5,000. Now your odds that your child is a genius, now a real genius, not that you think they're a genius, is 1 in 250. You have a better chance of writing a New York Times bestseller, 1 in 220.
But you have a genius.
The chance of an infant dying of SIDS, an infant death syndrome, 1 in 2,500. The odds that a 1 in 1 million event will occur somewhere in the United States is about 1 in 295. That's because of how many people we have. But your odds of dying from simply falling down are 1 in 246. Is anyone afraid of falling down?
Now I am.
Now you are. is it that our minds seem to jump on these things that seem to be actually more ludicrous than likely? The odds of dying from a mountain lion attack in California is 1 in 32 million. Yet when it happens, it's all over the news. The odds of you dying from a poisonous snake bite are 1 in 36 million. Who's afraid of snakes?
All the guys?
I've been bitten by snakes twice. It's not that bad. They weren't poisonous, I'll grant you that, but it's not that bad. I happen to think they're cool. The thing is that the imagination will grab onto those things. And for some people, what they see when they see snakes and their imagination jumps off to some horrible ending, it's not likely to happen, but the imagination grasps it and runs with it. By the same token, the news stories that are put out are the ones that are supposed to be grabbing your attention. Because the reason that they're on TV is to grab your attention, so you hang around to watch the commercials. Therefore, if you've been wondering why news has been degrading over the past couple of decades, actually longer, since there is no reason for them to simply report what is effective news anymore, all they have is reporting stuff that's going to keep you watching. Therefore, they're going to grab at these unlikely stories, the things that'll get you scared or worried, angry, upset. And now you think all of a sudden that everyone you know is going to die from a poisonous snake bite, or a lightning strike, or a shark attack. When the chances are, just about all of them is going to be colon cancer. Since there was no third speaker that jumped up, I took the opportunity to put an educational moment for a couple minutes. You'll have on the table in front of you the District 84's Club Ambassador form, an explanation of their Club Ambassador program. Our district, District 84, North and Central Florida, began this one a few years ago. I happen to think it's a great idea. So this is isolated to just our district per se, doesn't expand all of Toastmasters. But the way our program works is the idea you go and visit other clubs. For just visiting, you can simply get a point for being there. But you can get more points for participating, bringing friends, joining, speaking, helping out at those other meetings. In addition, you come back to your club with 3 things that you learned from attending those meetings, particularly 3 things that they do different than what your own club does. With that in hand, if you do this to 3 different clubs, you can do more, but if you do it to at least 3 different clubs, you can turn in the form, and if you also get yourself a picture of you being there with the banner or with the club officer for more points, you can submit those to the district, and if you turn those in, that little emblem you see at the top right, you'll get a pin of that emblem that you can wear as well. That is what they offer. The key really is to go out and learn different things, because every club is different. Every club has a different personality, and every club does things differently. I've been in 7 clubs in 15, 16 years. We've all done things differently. That doesn't mean that there's any right or wrong way. Sometimes you can take some neat idea to your club, give it a new idea, a new perspective, try something that other people suddenly get interested in. Maybe it engages their imagination or the new guest's imagination. You have more members showing up. Cross-pollinating those ideas, or stealing if you wish. It doesn't really matter how you want to think about it, but if you intend to go and take a look at other clubs, this is a great opportunity to just give you a little bit of incentive. The pin's cute. It doesn't have to mean anything, but it is good to sit there and think about, okay, what did I learn, and actually write it down and take those things back. If you have any questions on that, you can ask me. You can ask Susan, I'm sure, about it, and some of the other members that have done this program can give you an idea as well. So if you want to learn about any of the other clubs, or if you're curious what other clubs are around that you may be interested in visiting, just ask. I've done all I can to save you guys, so now I'm just going to have to finally give up the lecture. Our table topics master is eager to get up here and see how well you play the odds. Please welcome Charlie Bomboli.
Stephen. In selecting the questions tonight, I used a pragmatic approach to playing the odds. And here it is. Yay. Well, we're gonna make money tonight. Okay, here's how it's gonna go. Tonight, when I call your name, you're going to come up and you will have a chance to pick a penny and read the year. What are the odds that it will be within 5 years either way of your age? You, because you're all gamblers, can have 3 choices, except after the first one, you have to pay a dime. If you want another shot at it.
There you go.
Now, when you finally get to the destination that you want in the year that you want to speak about, you say something about the extraordinary things that happened that year. If it's your birth year, it'll be easy. If not, make it up. First of all, I have to tell you that I really dug hard in my house for a little bucket. So I went everywhere and I couldn't find it. And I started looking through the cabinets for some kind of bucket, and I found this Planters dry roasted peanuts, and it was full.
See,
So I had a choice. Do I dump it out in the garbage or down my throat? What are the odds that it's not in the garbage? Let's start with our first victim. Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
I know. 1980.
Want another shot? It's a dime.
1980, buddy. Yeah, that's great.
That's great for you. Good, you're at it.
Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, and especially our Cable Topics Master, Charles Victor Bombalier. First off, I want to say thank you for being on a low-carb diet and eating all those peanuts today. I notice you're looking far more svelte. Since Michelle's in the room too, I won't get too political with this speech, but in 1980...
Let me show you politics.
Charlie and I would agree that the greatest president ever was elected. And that would be Mr. Ronald Reagan. Very eloquent speaker, a great actor, and a man who calmed and soothed the nation. And as I was climbing on my climber today, one of my clients had left on a news channel, and it only took about 5 minutes before I got incredibly depressed and thought of jumping off the balcony where my office is. And I thought, my God, how great would it be to have a Ronald Reagan in office right now? Mr.
Thank you, Jonathan. Those very dynamic words. Let's see, who's the next lucky one? I'm looking around, looking around, looking around. Ooh, who's that gentleman in the back of the room? Joe, you're out! Yep.
1987?
You want that or you want another shot? It costs you a dime for another shot. Dun, 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 dun.
I'll try one.
It's gonna be funny if you get 87 again. What are the odds? It's the same thing.
It's 2000.
2000, okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
You're up.
Welcome to the new millennium. That's the time when I was at my vibrant age. Talking, drinking with the girls and all those bad or good habits. I really enjoyed that age. You are with a lot of friends. You learn a lot from your friends. You do a lot of crazy things, but you learn. Every time you do something crazy with your friends, you learn something. That's something which I wanted to talk about today. Once I was going for a movie with my friends, of course, cutting my classes short, not attending my classes, going with my friends. And I was at the movie house, watched the movie, it was all good, fantastic. While climbing down the steps or the stairs from the movie house, I saw my dad in the same movie house. Can you imagine that? So that's a crazy time when you feel that you don't do any crazy thing, but not identical to your parents. Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. Let's see. The lights, please. How about Michelle?
Why do you still have to bring this with me? I'm cheesing all day. Thank you, Miss Charlie. Let's see. Dirty pennies. 1964. I don't know, I wasn't born yet.
Ooh, I got another 10 cents. Yes.
Take that one out.
1979. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Oh, you're going to go with it?
Oh, in 1979, let's see, I was just a little girl. I got to figure it out. I can't remember.
Oh, you're getting another one.
Yes.
Hey, yes.
I was little, I can't remember.
It's okay. I like the money.
All right, let's keep going here. You want me to just put them back? Let's see.
You can keep them if it makes you feel better.
2001, 2004. Read that, Charlie.
That is B 2004.
Okay, so 10 years ago, let's see, 2004. Let's see, I was living in Louisiana, and I gotta say things were just kind of normal, calm. It was everyday life, and I was with my ex-boyfriend. Giggling about that. How many ex-boyfriends are you from? Yeah. So in 2004, there wasn't much going on, but little did we know that a year later, we were going to be hit by Hurricane Katrina. I lived in the area where it hit. My boyfriend and I broke up in that July. In that August, I was rear-ended by a guy who jumped out of the car and just beat the you-know-what out of me. He got 6 punches on me before I even knew what was happening. So definitely don't get out of the car if, a crazy guy's chasing you down. And then about a month later, I gotta say the world was turned upside down. The storm hit, I left the day before, 17-hour drive across into Texas. It shook up our entire world and changed everything. But it was a relief because I got to start all over and reboot. So 2004 was a normal year, and we didn't have any knowledge of what was going to happen next. So I guess it was a surprise. Thank you.
And I have my eyes on you.
Pretty sure I can't read it.
That would be 1991. You want that or you want another one? It only costs you time.
1991. That was the year that I went back to college. And it was a trip because I went to, as I told you before, I took shorthand and all that businessy stuff, and then I got my civil service score came up and I realized, ugh, I hate this. I don't want to be a secretary. But I worked in factories and that kind of job until quite a while went by in my life, and then I realized, gee, I don't really, even though I have the top paying job in this factory making car parts, I don't like that much either. So I went back to school and realized, wow, for computer science, I have to take algebra and all these different math courses all the way up until I can take calculus. And I have to take calculus-based physics and all these heavy-duty things. But it didn't faze me. I just kind of plugged away at it inch by inch, and I never said to myself, you can't do that. Even though I was talked in by my guidance counselor to go the business route because he thought, actually my sister got pregnant really early on, so he took one look at my name on my on the chart, and he said, you're good looking, you should go for secretarial. And I was thinking to myself, uh-oh, I'm not that good looking. So I was a little scared by that, but I thought, gee, I better do what he says, because I don't think he thinks I'm very smart. Come to find out, I graduated computer science summa cum laude, so I had no problem with this, the slow inching of the subjects and pulled it off.
Michan, would you like to try this? Grab a penny.
$2,007.
Is that the one you want to talk about, or you have a choice?
I'm thinking. I graduated high school in 2009. So 2007, I was probably a sophomore. And I was living in a town where I grew up my entire life, the same house. It's a small island. It's about 2 hours north of Seattle in Washington State, called Camino Island. And it's very beautiful, obviously right on the water. And it's funny for me living here in Orlando, it's the farthest that I've ever been from the water. There, it was a 5-minute drive, and we have a little rowboat. We'd go out, my dad had a sailboat, we spent a lot of time there. I miss having a community like that because growing up you have lots of friends at school and you have a community that's almost like an extended family. So it was very beneficial to have that type of setting, and now that I've been in Florida for about 3 years, it's starting to feel like that again. And it's very encouraging, especially to join groups like Toastmasters and gain friends. I'm fortunate that I'm getting back to that feeling of home again, and I'm glad to be here.
Let's see, Mr. Allen.
Yes.
Oh, I'll take this one. All right. 2003, what a glorious year. And the reason for that is because that was the year that I moved down here to Florida. So definitely a major life change for me, being from Wisconsin. I moved down here in March of 2003, and I was very excited to come. I had this new job offer, and I thought I had the world on my shoulders, and I was just going to conquer and rule the world. Well, kind of sort of. I'm still in the process of figuring out how to conquer the whole world thing, but let's just say that 11 years later, I'm still here, and I've enjoyed every moment being down here in Florida. So definitely a positive change, and hopefully I will be able to stay here for a long time and just continue to enjoy all the things that Central Florida has to offer, all the theme parks, all the different venues around town that you can visit, a good community as far as friends, a melting pot with people from all walks of life, from everywhere, and just a really great place to be. And I'm glad that in 2003, I was able to make my move down here, and here I am today.
Would our guests like to attempt these? We can
Yes.
try. All right. Since you're a guest, you don't have to pay any money, and you can have as many draws as you want.
2011. Oh my gosh, 2011. I did have a big event in 2011. I got married in 2011. That was a pretty big deal. So I got married in May 2011, May 14th to be exact, to my college sweetheart. We've been together since the day I started college at UCF in 2003. So it had almost been 10 years since we were together. It was my dream wedding. I planned it all from the very beginning to end. I had tons of friends and family. It was very intimate and large at the same time because I'm a huge family. But it was great. It was everything I wanted. All I wanted was good food, good music, and to dance all night, and that's exactly what I got. So we ate, we drank, we danced. It was great. I married the love of my life, and so yeah, that's what happened.
Brian, would you like to try it? Yeah.
I think I can just make up the year, right? We'll try, because otherwise I could just think of a story. I can't read, even with my glasses.
Oh, that's a hard one.
That might be an old year.
Yeah. Whatever. Try that. Another one? No start. You're a guest.
You're not doing table topics, you're giving us eye exams.
No, I mean, I just got these glasses like less than 2
No,
months
Charlie,
ago. and
I'm
they're,
sorry.
bifocals, but as you can tell, I don't like them. 19-something. It's either 74 or 94.
74.
Take it.
So 1974 was a very, very good year for me. I was 9 years old, so I was probably attending Tonawanda grade school. You like that name? That's an Indian name. What was unique about the school was they didn't have classrooms. We had pods. So you would go in the pods, and I can remember, let's see, my when I was in 9 years old, like you mean second or third grade. And I can still remember my favorite teacher from all of school was Mrs. Sparks, and she was my teacher when I was 9 years old, I think. Hold on a minute. And what was unique about her was she talked with her hands and got us all excited about learning because she used her hands. And so 1973 was good for that. I'm trying to think what else was good that year. I know. My brother got a paper route, which meant I got to be his relief driver. When he didn't want to drive it, I got up at 6 in the morning and delivered newspapers. And the last thing about that was I was an entrepreneurial person, and about 2 years later, when I went into middle school, I actually started an egg route. So, and we lived in the city, but I delivered fresh farm eggs that a farmer would deliver to us, and then we would repackage them and then deliver them on a wagon. So, anyways, 1974 was a great year.
Time now?
You've got one more member.
Oh, one more member. Steve, are you a member, Steve?
That's not who I was referring to.
That's not who he was referring to.
That's not who I was referring to, but you can call on him too. The one behind him has no other role.
I need you to hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. But we'll give it a shot.
Next time. This looks like an old one. Okay, 1992. The 90s were the decade of the grunge. So you all remember Nirvana. By the way, I would like to thank my fellow Toastmasters and the Toastmaster for tonight. There was a lot of good music in the 90s, especially in 1992. I don't remember exactly what. I also remember it was a presidential year, so we have to make use of whatever president and whatever pragmatic solutions he had to solve. There was that George H. Bush in 92? I believe so. Oh, Clinton.
Bush was president. Bush elected.
Well, we had 8 financially good years at least. The 90s, what else was 92? I was in high school in 92. I must have been a sophomore. A good time for learning. A lot of subjects, had my 9 subjects a day. Had at least one lunch break each day. Was taking Taekwondo back then. Trying to remember anything else. I must have been taking chemistry and studying for college. Had a lot of friends back then. I lived up in New York. I remember the winters were very awful. Had a really long commute on the subway. I'd have to take 2 trains. Of course, in New York City, so you can take the subway to get anywhere you want. At least anywhere in the city. Now, if you want to leave the city, that's a different story. I think it was maybe 10 years later that I eventually started driving. I didn't get my driver's license until just before I turned 21. And that was because my parents didn't want to pay for the extra car insurance. So to start driving, I had to leave the city. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for listening to me. I was looking at the lights.
On that note, I'm going to relinquish my position here and give it back to our Toastmaster, Mr. Stephen Morgan.
Odds are we'll be starting to finish things up with the evaluations shortly. I'll make one more comment when it comes down to the odds. Insurance, when you go to buy insurance, is a game of playing odds. The premiums you pay compared to the likelihood the insurance company will have to pay out based on some event that has an unlikelihood of chance of occurring. But the key to it is what they will call risk. And that risk is the odds of something occurring that will cost them a certain amount of money. Their premiums are based off of what they need to make in order to cover those payouts, plus a little bit more, of course, for their profit margins. When it comes time to buy insurance, that means you want an understanding of what is their risk, what are you paying for? Because if you're going to pay for it, you want to make sure you're being covered and that you're getting the coverage you expect. If you intend to have your house rebuilt, are you paying for the whole thing to be rebuilt? Are you paying for the loss of your vehicle or its replacement? For health insurance, are you paying for the coverage you'll need and the likelihood of an accident, an illness, one that your family may have a potentially idea that you might be likely to get there? That's what the game of risk is. Actuaries, and their job is to sit there and calculate those statistics to figure out the premiums based on the risk and those payouts. Understand what it is that you're doing and paying for when it comes time to play the odds. Since it becomes time for me to abrogate the lectern, yes?
Timer's report.
With mine.
Yep, timer report for the table topics. Can we get those now?
Okay, John Dunn coming in at 1 minute and 20 seconds, qualifies. Renju coming in at 1 minute and 30 seconds, he also qualifies. Michelle coming in at 2 minutes and 8 seconds, she qualifies. Linda, 1 minute, 42 seconds, another fine qualifier. Michan, or Michan, coming in at 1 minute and 11 seconds, she qualifies. Alan hit the target of 1 minute and 30 seconds, so he comes closest to qualifying. Our mystery guest tonight, 59 seconds. Sorry, I don't know your name. Kanisha, okay. I was a make-up name like a magic dancer or a celebrity. Brian came in at 1 minute and 32 seconds, so he qualifies. And I was a little confused over the time, but I managed to come in the window anyway, 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
So if I understood correctly, everyone but Kanisha?
No, everyone qualified.
Oh, she qualified as well?
Yeah, she qualified. She was within the absolute minimum. She wasn't in
The absolute minimum is 1 minute.
Yeah, but it says 30 seconds before.
Oh, not for table
Not
topics?
for tabletop.
Okay, well, I rounded down, so if I round up, she qualifies. So she qualifies.
All right. For the votes, please cast your vote for best table topic. Our vote counter is coming around to pick those up.
So you didn't round down for me.
And if you have any left
Why
over
didn't you round down for me?
I can round down. I can round down 3 seconds.
Speakers, you can give
I
them to
think
him
so.
as well.
For her, it was less than a minute, or less than a second.
In the meantime, time to pass off to our general evaluator. Our general evaluator tonight is excited about taking this role for the first time, eager to focus on a wider view of the overall meeting. Please help me welcome to the lectern, James Riggs.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guests, I do appreciate the opportunity to serve as the general evaluator tonight. It has me focusing in areas that I would not have focused on before, from the beginning of the meeting to the center and now to this point here. As part of my role, I will call evaluators to the lectern, request functionary reports, and then provide my feedback about the overall perceptions I have about the pros and cons of the meeting. Just as a reminder, the evaluators will have 2 to 3 minutes to give their evaluations. And with that said, I'd like to introduce our first evaluator. Playing the odds that taking an evaluator role this evening will tune him up for the area championships. bringing back the trophy for Central Florida facilitators, while also taking the speech of Diane Manikowski from good to great, our very own president, Mr. Jonathan Francis Gunn.
Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests. Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests. And especially Diane. See how we learn? Through evaluations. Diane, we're going to use some rhymes and reasons tonight. Heck, fellow Toastmasters, we're going to use a pragmatic approach. Take that speech from good. We're not even going to go to great. We're going to go to simply amazing tonight. We're going to examine structure, content, delivery. Let's talk about that structure. You opened up with John, Denver, Kumbaya, and then you led into the kid part. It was kind of Sherlock Holmesian in that I was sitting there wondering what the heck you were going to be talking about, so it worked on that level. When you got into the body, you talked about cat in a hat. You actually did a lot of different rhymes at that point. Created a lot of great imagery. Really was driving the point home. I had forgotten how great my own recall was until those things came jumping back at me. So it was a great job of the body. Then you did a great thing at the close. I'm not going to try to write it like you did, but you basically said, and now my speech has to end, and now my speech has to end. That was a great job really driving the point home at the close about the rhyming. Now, let's talk about going to fabulous. At one point you said 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I would have loved to have seen you leave this podium and go, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, in the next 6 to 8 minutes, we're going to talk about how rhymes and reasons really just turbocharge your learning. Never ever start with today, because that means from this day forward, that's what we're doing. So just limit it to your speech content. Speaking of content, the second part, your language was very appropriate. Once again, you did the 3 blind mice thing. I would have liked to have seen more of that, in fact. All of your rhyming created a lot of imagery, and I bet all the fellow Toastmasters in there were going back to when they were younger. If I can offer you a pearl of wisdom in the content department, I would have had at least one Twitter headline. Just something for us to unequivocally leave with. And you almost did when you talked about patterns and pleasure. Just think about in every speech you do, having a Twitter headline that everyone can leave with that they're going to be saying throughout the day. No speech would be complete without delivery. And Diane, you use what I like to refer to as 3-zone eye contact. A zone, B zone, C zone. You hit them all. Well done. Your energy was really good. You were cranking. I can tell you had a lot of information you were looking forward to getting through. Your appearance, you look very nice. I always love when speakers wear blue. It's a very calming color, everybody. We're going to go back to a constructive point again. Leave that podium. Maybe I'm biased, but I really don't like it. And as far as your energy, it was really high. I would like to have seen you after one of the rhymes to take a big pause and allow everybody to just reflect for a second and let that really sink in, because you were kind of like, and now my evaluation has to come to an end. And now my evaluation has to come to an end. But I'm so glad that you came to our club on Lend.
Jonathan, I didn't know you had such a voice. Excellent evaluation for the norm. Our next evaluator is also excellent. She's been a member of Toastmasters for 9 years. During this time, she's given evaluations and she's received a few as well. Now, giving evaluations were always the most difficult part of Toastmasters for her. And tonight she knows that learning is part of the evaluation process, and it takes skill, and she's practicing and getting those skills better by giving an evaluation tonight. Please help me welcome our next evaluator, the distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Morgan.
Purpose and life. What a title. This was really a wonderful speech title, Jorge. I enjoyed your speech a lot. And here are some of the things that I think that you did extremely well, and then maybe a couple things that you can work on or add in. Your topic selection was perfect. Everyone in this room could totally relate to having a purpose. Either they have one or they want one. Everyone can relate to that. Your preparation was extremely well done. You were out here in front of the podium or the lectern, and you had no notes, nothing like that. You were great. You were confident and enthusiastic. I love that about your speech. They ask about posture in here. Well, your posture was fine. You were up here talking like a normal person would. Your gestures, I loved your gestures. You had your running, plus you had some other little here and there things. I think even when you were jumping over the hole, you did something like that. If you didn't, you should. Your body movement was great. You came out here in front, and instead of like pacing, like some people will pace when they're up here, you stayed in one place, but you made everyone part of the speech with your eye contact and with your arms and your gestures. That was really well done. You told us all about playing tag in the mine area where you weren't supposed to be playing. I think some of your gestures you could have used were lighting the dynamite and maybe lighting the lantern. And, looking around, put your hand over your forehead and looked around. That would have maybe made it a little bit different. I loved the structure of your speech, your eye contact, your facial expressions. Everything was very well done. A couple things you can just jump in, like I said, that you could maybe add. Other than that, I don't think there was anything that I can add to that, except for that you were a wonderful speaker. Thank you.
Another excellent evaluation. It's going to be hard to choose the best evaluator, and as if they both qualify. So, if I may ask for a timer's report from Steve.
James Dunn came in at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Part of it was my fault and part of the fault of the run box, which has single pole, double throw switches, double pole, single throw switches instead of single pole, single throw switches. So you flip it once, you think it's switched, and it's not. And the contacts are worn also, and the patterns are loose. So we probably should solder some new switches into here, or just use a computer program for timing next time.
Wow.
Solve our problematic issues. So James Dunn came in at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Susan Morgan came in at 2 minutes and 54 seconds. So Susan, I believe, is the only one who qualifies.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, then we won't have voting for that, but we will move on to the functionary reports.
No voting at all tonight.
I would like to begin with the grammarian, Renju, if you could give us a report.
Thank you, Dan, Steve, Alan, Charlie, and Jonathan for using the word of the day. The others, please, we have the box there, contribute. So I've noted some colorful phrases and some imaginary words, very nice expressions. The best one is, I'm not complete. I'm still waiting for my masterpiece. Jorge. And Stephen, I like the cross-pollinating ideas. It's nice. Ellen, trying to figure out how to conquer the world. It's nice. And Jonathan, I like the expression Twitter headline. That's very modern usage. Mr. General Evaluator.
And now we will move on to our Wizard of Oz, Mr. Mark.
Mr. General Evaluator. Tonight I caught Linda using Oz and Ums only once. Renju, 1 Oz and Ums. Steve, this Steve, 2 Oz and Ums that I counted. Alan, just 1 and 1 bridge word. Diane, I got you 4 ums and 2 bridge words. Charlie, 1 Oz and Michelle, 1 and 1 bridge word. And Kanisha, 2 Oz and ums. And other than that, if I didn't catch you, you got away with it, but that's what I got.
We will be able to have 1 vote for the most improved Toastmaster. So if we could have a minute with the timer and cast your votes for that, please. Okay, that's probably about a minute. So we're going to move forward with some of my overall perspectives, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting with the good. A first point that I'm going to bring to everyone's attention is the fact that the Toastmaster worked hard behind the scenes days before this meeting to make sure that it ran smoothly. I saw communication about getting introductions out, ensuring that roles were confirmed, and even dealt with last-minute changes like losing one of the speakers, and it was handled very smoothly. So I appreciated that, and I liked the music. When I walked in the room, it was upbeat, it was fun, and it set a good tone for the meeting. The banner was in place, looked great. The lectern is as it should be, and the room looks spotless. So all the preparations that should have been done were done. I liked the solid control of the lectern. Each speaker that came up shook hands, and the lectern was maintained by the previous speaker until the new one came up. Very smooth. And Charlie, I love the table topics. It was in line with the theme, and it was fun. It really made the night even more enjoyable. So nicely done. Some areas to improve. I'm going to start with the room temperature. When I walked in, I don't know if it was the wine or just it was a little warm.
Yeah.
And that might be something we have no control over, but if it is, I wouldn't be angry if we dropped the temperatures to bit. Another thing is that the cell phones, it's not to call anyone out, I can easily do the same thing myself next week, but we say to silence or turn off the phones for a reason, because it can detract from the speaker's presence and the presentation. So I would focus on that in meetings to come. And also there was a little confusion about the timer role. The agenda showed that it was going to be Mark, but in actuality we had it as Steve, and then Linda was providing the assist. You know, that's life. There's no such thing as perfect. Things happen, and it was handled smoothly and professionally. That's all the criticism I have. I'll close my evaluation by saying how much I appreciate the opportunity. I really did get a chance to look at things I hadn't looked at before. And I want to take a moment to say I like the updates, not just about the events, but when you told us about Tony. You've done that with other members in the past, and it really solidifies a sense of family and a sense of caring, which is a big part of what this meeting is. So, appreciate that. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and with that, I will turn it back over to our president.
Kenesha, what did you think?
That was really interesting and really fun to just listen to everyone. And I mean, I can see a lot of things that I'm doing wrong just by observing you all. A lot of misses that I had just from sitting here watching and listening, and everything went so smoothly, and it seemed just very like a well-oiled machine almost. So
It is a well-oiled machine, thank you. Ryan?
A well-oiled machine.
I tell you.
Very similar to the one brought back memories.
You guys both did great too.
15
Those were really good jobs. Diane?
Well, I enjoyed you having me and letting me do the speech. I do have an issue with the timer light, I think. It's not working right. It's probably like 3 seconds off. Anyway, thank you. I enjoyed it. Have a nice day.
I do want to recognize Steve for just jumping into a role too. That's what this club is all about, and we support everybody. And it really is a family atmosphere, so no one has anything to lose by jumping in. That's for sure. There should be a role sign-up sheet going around somewhere. Does anyone have possession of that?
I haven't seen it.
It must have died on the Allen.
Has the Toastmasters logo towards the top of it, showing the next several weeks of meetings.
Oh, there it is.
Let me protect the lectern. Linda, would you bring, after you, go ahead and bring it up.
Okay.
No one put their name on it?
I'm on there.
You were already on there. The point was to write your names down.
Okay. Jorge, would you throw me a pen? I'm just going to disappear up here. Thanks. 10th of September, 2014. My birthday is the following day, so as a gift, I would like people to just jump up and take roles. Starting with the speaker, we have Stephen Morgan speaking. Can we get somebody else to jump into a speaker role? Maybe somebody who's going to be competing in a tournament that week and needs to tune up. But hey, we may not want to win at this club. Mark? Good.
Icebreaker? No pressure there.
Yeah.
Any icebreakers? Okay, we're at least set there for now. We need one more evaluator. Roberts, you had your hand up first.
Well, I won't take it personal.
No, it's all right. Charlie, would you take it personal if he doesn't, or would you?
No, I don't care.
Okay, good,
That's fine.
good. We need a general evaluator. Charles. We need a table topics master. Very fun role, by the way. Great, Susan, thank you. And we need a Toastmaster. I'm going to put Pat down.
If you can't do that, I can do Toastmaster instead.
All right, better do that then.
It's been a while since I've done it.
Yeah.
Do it again. But it's okay, isn't it?
All right, we are set. So I'm just waiting for some awards up here, but while I'm waiting for those awards, the first award that we hand out is the Tim Chastain Award. And really, James nailed our Tim Chastain Award winner. He was the founder of this club. And this award is given out to the Toastmaster that does a lot of things behind the scenes. I never liked the saying, like, this winner doesn't like, without further ado, I never liked the whole 110% thing. But this guy really did a 110% tonight. The Tim Chastain Award winner goes to our Toastmaster, Stephen Morgan. Thank you, Alan. our Most Improved Toastmaster Award this evening. Did a great job. I really enjoyed the speech, and that's Jorge Elias. Best Table Topics Award. Thank you for voting me. I appreciate it. Best Evaluator Award goes to Susan Morgan. No, you never turned the light on.
Oh.
I never knew that I went over. But it's all right. It's all good. I got to tune up, which is all I wanted to do. Our best, well, I guess we know who the best speaker is this evening. Dang it. You did a great speech, though. But Jorge, you get it. It was 2 great speeches tonight. Really enjoyed it. Diane, do you have any announcements, or did you get what you need filled? If not, go ahead and pop up.
Thank you. September 20th, Saturday at 2 o'clock in Lake Mary is going to be the Area 70 Humor Speech Contest. And I need volunteers to fill some judges' positions in a ballot counter. Anybody, any volunteers? I got 2 people here, but I need some more. It's Saturday, September 20th. It's at the Cork and Olive in Lake Mary. Pardon me?
Yeah, I'll just do the ballot counter then.
You'll do it? Yeah. Okay, I still need judges. Yes?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, you did that last time too. You're
Used to
gonna
be
find
It's
somebody.
early, girl.
Well, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon though.
That-
Your
that-
odds just went up.
Your judges will have to have given at least 6 speeches.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
fine.
new requirement.
Okay. All right, well, if you can do it, please let me know. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate your presence here. We look forward to 100% of you joining us next week as we move forward to self-actualization. Meeting is adjourned.